Hi, this is Manish Pandey. Welcome back to my series on UiPath Data Service. In our last video, you learned how to import data using a CSV file in UiPath Data Service and how to resolve any issue if occurs. In this video, we will discuss about import and export schema in UiPath Data Service. This can save you a lot of time when you want to share your entity structure across the projects or environments. So let's get started. We are on the UiPath Data Service page. You can see here there is an option import and export. Once you click on that, there are two options, export schema and import schema. Do you know what is a schema? A schema represents the metadata of every entity and choice sets holding information such as entity, fields data type, or relationship between entity fields. This is the skeleton of how data will be stored and organized. In simple terms, think of a schema like a blueprint of a building which tells you how the building is structured, which rooms are where, and what kind of materials you should use. For example, in a vendor master entity, the schema would include like entity name, entity display name, entity type, entity description, all the custom fields that's a part of that entity with its structure, which will exclude the system built-in fields and system built-in entities. It includes the choice sets, etc. Now let's understand what importing and exporting a schema means in UiPath Data Service. You can see we have export schema. Exporting allows you to take the schema of an entity and save it as a JSON file. You can later import this schema into another environment or share it with team members so that they can replicate the same entity schema, same structure. When you export a schema, it is like exporting the structure of an entity. We have import schema. So importing means taking a schema file, the JSON file, and using it to create the same entity structure in a different environment, which ensure the consistency. This means you can import the same structure into another project or another environment, which ensures that the data setup remains consistent. Now, let's start with exporting a schema. I will show you how easy it is to export an entity schema from UiPath Data Service. Let's click on Export Schema. Once you click on that, there is a confirmation pop-up, confirm export. This will export all entities and choice sets. So once you click on confirm, all the entities which and excluding system built-in entity will be exported as a JSON file. Click confirm. Let's go to the download folder. Your entity schema is now downloaded as a JSON file. Let me open this schema in the Firefox. You can see here we have three options: JSON, raw data, and headers. So in the raw data, you can see this is the same as like once you'll open that JSON in the notepad, but I will go with the JSON. All entities present in the tenant are exported here. You can see, let me collapse all this. So first entity you can see here, this is entities and choices. So there are two things exported here. Let's go with the entities. In the entities 0, so there are two entities you can find out here, product master, and then second one is vendor master, right? So basically we have only custom entity, that is two, product master and vendor master. So as I mentioned that system built-in entity and entity fields will be excluded in this export. Okay, now let's go with this first entity, product master. Let's click on fields. You can see here the complete structure of this entity has been exported. You can see entity name, display name, entity type ID, entity type, description, and then all the fields here. In the fields again, you can see index 0, 1, 2, 3 like that. So field name, the product ID. Is primary key? So no, false. Is foreign key? False. Is unique? False. Reference type many to 1. SQL type and varchar. Length limit 200. Is required true. So you remember, like we set as a true as a required, is required option checkbox. We checked that. Display name, that field display name which has the space, you can see. Same way we have second field, that is product name. You can see everything, all the structures, then vendor ID, and then category, price. So all these fields with this fields type and all these things are exported here. Now let's move to import a schema. This import schema, this features is extremely useful when you want to replicate an entity from one environment to another or from one tenant to another. Instead of manually creating the entire structure again, you can simply export the entity schema and import into the production environment, and this saves a lot of time and ensures that there are no manual errors. I will click on import schema. I will select that schema that we just now exported, that JSON file. You can see JSON file. Click open. Now you can see the conflicts here. Confirm the entities and or choice sets to be imported. For those that already exist, the schema will be appended to the existing entity or choice sets. You can see two tabs here, entity and choice sets. So by exporting and importing that entity, you can export entities and choice sets. By importing also, you can import entities and choice sets. Okay, you can see this warning message, this warning icon, which shows that conflict. So why we are getting this conflict? Because we already have these two entities created, right? This payment terms, this choice sets also already available. That's why we are getting this conflict. If you want to only see the conflicting one, it will show you the list of entities which is conflicting. If I will click on checkbox, yes, both is showing here. Now if you want to import that, so you can see the schema will be appended. If you want to just import only one entity, you can do it. Let's say you want to import only product master, you can select that, check the checkbox, and then click import. If you want both, you can select one by one, or you can directly check it from here and then click on import, and this will be imported again, right? You can see here we already have these entity fields available and the data also attached to that. Now this I showed you with the conflicts. Now I will show you a phrase. So I have already exported the schema. Now I'm going to remove all these. So let's remove first. Okay, so now it's like it looks like a phrase, or you can understand like this is a different tenant, different environment. You can say a QA environment or production environment. You have already completed your development. You have created that entity, that schema in your development. Now you want to create the same structure, same entity, choice sets, same fields into a production environment or QA environment for testing. Then you need to export that. So we have already exported the schema. Now it's time to import that schema in the QA environment. So understand, this is a QA environment. Now manage choice sets, and then I'm going to delete this as well. So I will say payment terms. Okay. Now we'll click on this and import schema. We'll go with the same JSON file, the schema that we exported. Click open. Now you can see here it looks like a phrase. If you'll check this checkbox, now we'll not be getting any entities here because we don't have any conflict. Let's click on that. You can see no conflicts with the entities, no conflicts with the choice sets also. Now I want to import. So first we'll import this choice sets. because that is referenced with the one of the entity. So I will first import this, and now I will go to the entities. So import schema, and then go to the schema, go to the fields, import that. So now we already have that choice sets available. So I'm going to import this entities. Now entities also imported here, and you can go to this manage choice sets. You can see choice sets also available. If we'll go to the product master entity, and then all the fields we have, data will not be having here, because data will not be exported with that JSON file, and you will not able to import that data. So that's how you import and export the schema in UiPath Data Service. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more UiPath tutorials. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.